Do you want more success, more growth, more results? Then it's time for the Boundless Success Accelerator from the Modern Observer Group. This isn't your average coaching program. It's where top performers come to dominate. Weekly group sessions, on-demand coaching, a community that's got your back, and a power-packed library of tools to supercharge your business and career. No more excuses, no more waiting. Get in, level up, and start building the life you've been dreaming about. Visit us at modernobserver.com/boundless success to join today. Let's get you to the next level.
We're here because the news is being distorted. We're here because people are being inundated with misinformation on social media. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Riots continue in Los Angeles. Infighting in the Democratic Party. A new chapter for Warner Brothers, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Protesters waving Mexican flags shouted, "No justice, no peace," and "Don't start no shit, won't be no shit," on the corner of 2nd Street and San Pedro Street during Monday night's protests in Los Angeles. After throwing fireworks at law enforcement, protesters were dispersed when police responded by firing tear gas. Anti-Semitism was on display as rioters defaced a downtown Los Angeles garden with graffiti that says IDF trains ICE. The autonomous ride-hailing service Waymo has suspended operations in downtown Los Angeles after several of its vehicles were set on fire during protests against immigration raids in the area. At least 5 Waymo vehicles were destroyed over the weekend, according to the company. Sheriff Chad Bianco of Riverside County said agitators are not protesting and criticized Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom for not taking appropriate action. They are trying to violently influence something by political action. That is what this is. That is everything that the Constitution stands against, said Bianco, who is running for governor. That is what law enforcement stands against, and that is what will facilitate the downfall of our civilized society. A civilized society has an adherence to the rule of law, and there is consequence for breaking that social compact. And when politicians encourage this behavior. Senator John Fetterman spoke out against the anarchy and true chaos in Los Angeles, declaring that Democrats forfeit moral high ground if they do not decry the violence. I unapologetically stand for free speech, peaceful demonstrations, and immigration. But this is not that. This is anarchy and true chaos. My party loses the moral high ground when we refuse to condemn setting cars on fire, destroying buildings, and assaulting law enforcement, Fetterman declared in a post on X. The Department of Homeland Security is sharing information about more than a dozen illegal immigrant suspects accused of crimes in the United States who were arrested in Los Angeles starting on June 6th. The agency released the suspect information after the violence broke out in downtown LA over the weekend in response to the ICE raids that resulted in hundreds of illegal aliens being arrested by ICE officers and agents, including many with a criminal history and criminal convictions. DHS listed more information about 19 suspects that ICE Los Angeles arrested on June 7th who are accused of crimes ranging from robbery to second-degree murder to rape. America's brave ICE officers are removing the worst of the worst from LA's streets, while LA's leaders are working tirelessly against them, DHS said in a Sunday statement as riots continued through the weekend. California in response, filed a lawsuit against President Trump on Monday over his decision to deploy the National Guard to Los Angeles amid escalating immigration protests, calling the move unconstitutional. About 500 U.S. Marines assigned to 29 Palms began deploying to Los Angeles on Monday to protect federal buildings. Defense officials said the Marines will not directly engage with protesters and will operate under U.S. Northern Command. While California officials and some media reporters have tried to describe the protests as mostly peaceful, the unrest has included assaulting law enforcement officers, the scorched Waymo self-driving cars, and widespread vandalism and arson. Protesters have been filmed spitting on and burning American flags while chanting profane slogans. Meanwhile, in contrast to Los Angeles, police in New York City arrested 24 anti-ICE protesters on Monday afternoon after they refused to leave Trump Tower in Manhattan during a demonstration inside. The demonstrators chanted, "Bring them back," while they occupied the lobby of the building. They also read the names of the illegal immigrants who were deported to the CECOT maximum security prison in El Salvador. No violence occurred. Israeli forces boarded a Gaza-bound aid boat carrying Greta Thunberg and other activists Monday, calling it a selfie yacht stunt and redirecting it to Ashdod, a major Israeli port. The group, part of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, was intercepted before breaking the naval blockade. Defense Minister Israel Katz ordered that they be shown October 7th Hamas attack footage so they understand who they're backing. Photos showed IDF soldiers handing out sandwiches and water, with Thunberg seen smiling during the encounter. President Trump later criticized Thunberg, saying she should go to an anger management class and calling her a young, angry person. China's exports to the U.S. fell by the most since 2020 in May. The U.S. and Chinese representatives meeting in London this week in hopes of achieving a trade war truce have a lot to talk about and a lot at stake. Last month, Chinese exports to the U.S. declined 34.5%, the steepest drop since February 2020, when COVID shut down China's economy and snarled global supply chains. This dip occurred despite a temporary trade agreement reached May 12th, which led to lower but still elevated tariffs for 90 days. In this week's talks, which began yesterday and are expected to continue, China is hoping the U.S. will back down on tariffs and access to tech, while the U.S. wants China to allow more exports of rare earth minerals. After yesterday's meetings, Trump said China is not easy, but that he's only getting good reports. Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin blamed his struggle helming the party on DNC infighting, triggered by Vice Chair David Hogg, according to a recording of a Zoom call leaked to Politico. Hogg drew the ire of Martin and others in his party in April when he vowed to spend $20 million to primary incumbent Democrats with younger candidates. "You essentially destroyed any chance I have to show the leadership that I need to," Martin told Hogg during the call. Warner Brothers Discovery is splitting into two companies, one focused on streaming and studios, including HBO Max and Warner Brothers Films, and the other housing cable channels like CNN and TNT. The split will undo the 2022 merger between Warner Media and Discovery Communications, aiming to reduce debt and compete with streaming companies like Netflix and Amazon Prime that are unburdened by declining cable TV revenues. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.